Here I am in Mariposa Grove, located within Yosemite. I'm surrounded by these giant sequoias, which is just beautiful. In today's video, I want to talk about the key things that you should always take with you during any Yosemite trip, no matter the season, the activities that you'll be doing. Before we jump in, like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you guys have been to Yosemite and there are some items that we may have missed. All right, let's jump in. During the summer in Yosemite, it gets very hot. We're talking in the 90s to 100s. So chances are you'll want to do some water-based activities just to cool down. So if you want to get into the water, just be aware that the rocks are extremely slippery and sharp. So as a way to protect your feet, I'd highly recommend picking up some water shoes. They're going to allow you to grip onto the rocks a lot more safely. Yosemite is in the backcountry, so there's a ton of amazing wildlife out here. Actually, the second that we got to the campsite, I just saw a deer casually strolling through it. So in that moment, I just grabbed my binoculars. I was able to zoom in quickly and see that deer up close. So Yosemite has deer, but also they have black bears, they have birds, they have squirrels, they have all types of wildlife. I'd highly recommend picking up some binoculars. Go with an 8x magnification at least. If you want to go a little bit above, that's fine. But if you go with an extreme magnification, it can get kind of shaky. So just something to watch out for. Yosemite has some of the most amazing trails you can imagine. These trails lead to waterfalls and vista points, so you'll definitely want to invest in some really good hiking boots. I have Merrell Moabs, which are perfect for me because the break-in period is practically nothing and it's extremely comfortable. If you plan on doing the mist trail, it gets really slippery when you start going up the steps. I just did it yesterday. These boots save me because they're able to grip on the slippery rock really well. Just make sure that whichever hiking boots you pick, that they are waterproof and that there's a really good grip on the bottom. So this leads me to my next item that you should always pack with you, and that is a rain jacket. So going up Mist Trail, naturally you're right next to the waterfall, so you're getting all this mist in your face. Your clothes will get wet. I'd recommend grabbing a rain jacket, something lightweight. And again, we're in California, so you never know when it's gonna start raining, so it's always good to have a rain jacket on hand, or a poncho. If you're visiting Yosemite in the summer like I am, it's gonna get very, very hot, so you have to stay hydrated. There's a lot of things to consider when you're thinking about hydration. It's not just drinking water. So I'd highly recommend getting some electrolyte tablets. So you could grab them from Liquid IV or Noon. I prefer Noon. It tastes a little bit better in my opinion. If you're trekking, you're probably sweating. So you wanna make sure that you are well hydrated, and that includes getting some good electrolytes in your system. That also leads to my next point. Either go the water bottle route or you can go with a water bladder. Whichever you prefer is totally fine. Just make sure that you have at least a half liter of water per mile that you hike. That's gonna keep you well hydrated. So if you decide on going the water bottle route, which is totally cool, I'd recommend freezing the water before you arrive at Yosemite. It's gonna be able to keep your food fresh for longer, and it's gonna give you cold drinking water. So it's a win-win. And that leads to my next item that you should always pack with you, and that is a dry bag. These are typically used for water-based activities. It's basically gonna protect your items when you're in the water. What I ended up doing was I turned this kind of into a cooler. I was able to basically pack in some ice in here, toss a couple water bottles in there. I basically had ice cold water during multiple trails. You can keep your items cold, you can protect it from the water. There's a lot of really great benefits with dry bags. Yosemite is about 4,000 or 5,000 feet high, and it's closer to the sun, so you're naturally gonna get hotter. So I'd highly recommend packing some items that are gonna protect you from the sun. That includes a hat. So if you wanna get like a large hat or even a baseball cap, something that protects your face. Sunscreen, you can apply that to your face, your body. If it's extremely bright out, it could affect your eyes. So I'd highly recommend picking up some sunglasses. When I was doing Mist Trail yesterday, having sunglasses actually kept the water out of our eyes. And on top of that, you can actually get sunglass holders. The sunglass holder was awesome because I was able to connect it to my sunglasses and I didn't have to worry about losing them. It really depends when you plan on traveling to Yosemite because the weather does shift a little bit. If you're going during the warm season, I'd highly recommend getting breathable clothing. That's gonna make sure that the sweat doesn't stay on you. It's gonna be highly breathable. So look into moisture wicking items that you can actually take with you. Just think about the typical base layer, mid layer, and outer layer, and then you should be good to go. In terms of clothing, I'd highly recommend grabbing some merino wool socks. You'll be on your feet for a good amount of time. You want to make sure that you wear something that's breathable, and it's a good way to avoid getting any blisters. If you want to do water-based activities or shower at Yosemite, I'd highly recommend grabbing some quick dry towels. They're super compact and they dry really quickly. And if you have a carabiner, you can actually attach it to your backpack. So for example, if you're going up Mist Trail, you know that you're gonna get soaked. You can actually attach your towel to your backpack and you're ready to go. Speaking of clothing, I'd highly recommend taking a buff with you. Again, there's multiple use cases. This is gonna be such a lifesaver, especially for those hot days. You can basically place this in some cold water, wrap this around your neck, and it's gonna keep your neck nice and cool. You can wear it as a bandana around your neck, around your wrist. It's a really compact item that's quick drying, and it's gonna keep you cool during those warmer days. Yosemite's elevation is about 4,000 or 5,000 feet, so you can actually see the stars really clearly at night. I'd recommend checking out some stargazing apps. You can download them on your phone and you'll be able to see what constellations are around you. It's a really fun experience, especially if it's you with some other people. Headlamps are awesome because it gives you a light source and two hands to kind of work with. On my way back from Mist Trail, it started getting pretty dark. Luckily, I had a headlamp so I could just quickly turn it on so I could safely walk down the trail. You're at Yosemite, you're bound to encounter some type of insects, ants, spiders, mosquitoes, they're all here. So I'd recommend just grabbing a spray or maybe even incense sticks if you're at the campsite, grabbing something with DEET. That's gonna make sure that the insects don't come closer to you. So again, you're at Yosemite, so you want to hit up some trails, right? So during those trails, you want to take some snacks with you, some water, first aid kit with you, and some other items. And that's where the backpack comes in. So in my case, I'm using a Sunny 16 backpack. This backpack is spacious, it's durable, and it's very comfortable. I was able to do a bunch of trails with this backpack. In my case, I actually put a water bottle here. You have quick access pockets in the front. We have some sunscreen, hand sanitizer, lotion, chafing cream, Carmax for your lips. The items that you put in your backpack are gonna be customized to what you need. So you can see the padding is super thick on the back. It gives you quick access to some items. And there's a USB port. This thing was a total lifesaver. Actually, when I was going up Mist Trail yesterday, my phone was really low on battery. I think it was at 4 or 5%. I'm not even at the top of the waterfall yet, and my phone's already almost dead. But luckily, I had a USB port right here. So I plugged in my power bank and I was basically charging my phone as I was going up. So this USB port is a total lifesaver. And the cool thing is on the inside of the bag, there are dividers, so you can actually customize it based on your needs. So in my case, I had my med kit, I had a trekking pole, I had my A7R2 with a battery grip, I had 2 lenses, batteries, so I really maxed this thing out. And the cool thing is that it is water resistant. Going up Mist Trail, my clothes were soaked. The backpack did get wet, but it did not seep into the backpack, which is the most important thing. First aid. So this is something you never want to compromise on. It's extremely valuable to always take with you, no matter the length of the trail, and even if you think that it's easy. In my case, again, I've customized it based on my needs. Everything that I need for a hike is located here. Kinesiology tape. This is really great at preventing blisters, and it's super compact, so highly recommend grabbing that. I have some extra tape. I have an ACE bandage just in case someone gets injured during a hike. Neosporin, I have some scissors, I have alcohol wipes, I have of course some bandages, I have some gauze, and a bunch of other items. If you have allergies like I do, I always take Claritin with me, so I put them in a little baggie, I label it as Claritin, and I put it inside the first aid kit. Here at Yosemite, there's basically no coverage. I'd highly recommend downloading the offline app via Gaia or Google. You can save those maps offline and you'll always have it with you. Or just grab a map. Your phone can die, you could lose it, you could drop it, you never know what could happen. So it's always good to have a physical map. You're in Yosemite and there's practically no power available unless you go to Curry Village, but you don't want to be there constantly charging your devices. What I'd recommend is taking a power bank with you. I took 2 of these with me. These are the Sunny 16 power banks. It's 20,000 milliamps, which means that you can charge your phone, your computer, camera, multiple devices at the same time. This thing was a total lifesaver because I was able to charge my fan while I was charging my phone. So this thing is extremely valuable and you don't want to leave home without it. And the cool thing is, again, you can connect the Sunny 16 power bank to your Voyager camera bag, and you can basically charge up while you're hiking. kind of an optional thing for most people. In my case, I find it as an essential, and that is trekking poles. While I was doing the mist trail, it got really steep. This just gave me an extra level of support that I would not have had otherwise. And you can see how fast it is to actually, you know, and boom, there you go. In like a second, these things are collapsed and it takes up practically no space. Just toss in your bag and you're good to go. So in terms of food storage, you want to bring a cooler with you. What I'd recommend is freezing a bunch of water bottles. That's going to make sure that your cooler stays cool. It's going to keep your food fresh. And by the end of it, you're going to have ice cold water that you can drink. I would recommend grabbing some stash bags. These are basically reusable Ziploc bags, but they're a lot stronger. So the cool thing about stash bags is that when this is inside your cooler, if you happen to have ice and it starts melting, the water will not seep in here, which is a really nice thing because it's going to make sure that your food does not get soggy. Toiletry kit. I don't want to get too deep into that because it's kind of customized based on you. It's going to be a little different for everyone. I have wet wipes, I have moisturizers, I have all types of things. So just make sure whatever you have fits nicely in a compact toiletry bag. Walkie Talkies. So again, you're at Yosemite, so there's basically no coverage out here. If you're with a group of people, you'll want to get a set of Walkie Talkies to make sure that you know where everyone is. There were actually multiple cases where I was with a group and I actually lost one person. Luckily, they had a Walkie Talkie with them. I was able to easily communicate with them. I actually just witnessed someone who lost someone in their group and they left a note on their car. So if they had a Walkie Talkies, they would be good to go. They can easily communicate. Just make sure you grab a pair of Walkie Talkies. These are really inexpensive and valuable. If you want to invest in something a little bit more, I'd recommend going in a satellite phone direction. There's a bunch of them available, but it's basically going to give you a way to communicate with people while you're in the backcountry. Those are some of the essential items that I'd recommend you take with you when you're going to Yosemite. If you've already been to Yosemite, leave a comment below with some of the items that you always take with you. And we hope that you found this video helpful. Like, subscribe, and remember, leave no trace.